From Palm Springs to La Quinta, KGAY 106.5. Pride of the Valley.
KGAY 106.5, the Pride of the Valley. Ben Patrick Johnson on Thursday morning. I've got a full studio here. I've got an entire family. They don't look like a traditional nuclear family. They are Daddy Squared. It is Jan and Alex. They have a very popular podcast, and they're here with their two. What were you calling it? They're twins, but
Twiblings.
Twiblings.
Yeah, it's a new term that doesn't really mean anything except that it means that one of them is biologically derived from my stuff, and the other from Jan's, the other husband.
Yes.
And they are related to each other through the egg donor. So it's like a Frankenstein experiment that has come out
decent. It seems to work.
It came out.
Well,
It
Ben
worked.
is a little, not this Ben, the other Ben. The kids are Ben and Adam. Ben's a little nauseous.
He is a little bit
nauseous.
nauseous.
Sitting
It's
on your
not
lap.
about the content.
It's not really, because I thought maybe it was this show.
No.
I thought it was me bouncing on my bad
I don't
knee
know if that
and the
happens.
show and all of this sort of thing.
Let's just say that this morning, everything that can go wrong for us did.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Babysitter
Excellent.
doesn't show up, red lights,
Yes.
green light,
And
everything.
as I it was important for me to say that in case any of our listeners don't understand how real and normal a gay relationship is, I am now going to reach over to my husband and strangle him slowly to death, and you'll be able to recognize the reality of our relationship.
Now, why is he getting strangled to death?
Well, A, because it's Tuesday.
That's okay.
And B, because, we had a frustrating morning with the kids, and I think that that's what generally happens in relationships like those. So here we go.
Everyone's gone. Now, your podcast is really delightful. You've done 3 seasons, and you're going to be starting number 4 soon. It's grown in popularity exponentially, and it's becoming a go-to for not just gay parents, but for regular folks. It's funny, it's smart. Oh, Ben, I'm so sorry about your tummy. He gives me a look. I just got the look.
It's okay.
It's okay,
It's
Ben.
okay.
Yeah. But see, this is what parenthood is like. I know, because I've had a number of godchildren of my own, and I've dealt with nausea and things coming up this end and out that end, and the various smells, sights, and frights of.
Yeah. It's all about liquids and various viscous things.
And poop.
Yeah, you said exactly. Now on your sort of greatest hits show that wound up season 3 of your podcast, I listened to it, and there was a lot of discussion of poop. I was very impressed.
Very poop oriented.
Well, and it's interesting because we're men. Men are talk about poop, and then it turns out that boys love poop too. And so when you have 2 boys, as we did,
yes,
it's the poop family now. Everything is poop.
Everything. Poop all around.
It's poop all around. And I'll tell you that before my kids were born, I didn't really like to talk about poop. I certainly didn't want to come in contact with poop. And now it's like, oh, look, I found some on my arm. Not recently, but when they were babies.
I understand.
Like, oh, it's been there for a few hours. Well, what are you going to do?
It's
it
dry
changes
now.
Let's have a cocktail.
Yeah.
It's right, exactly. Totally.
What is your, if you had one single takeaway, and this is of all the advice you could give to either prospective gay parents or to new parents of gay or straight, what would be the one solid piece of advice you'd send them away with?
Everyone is an expert on his own kid. That's my advice.
Oh, that's very interesting.
That is very good.
Yeah, I like that one, actually.
I mean, people are, and we see that a lot. Like, a lot of parents feel insecure and think that don't do it right, quote unquote. And I think that there is no right or wrong. Like, your kids more than anybody else.
Can I do 2? I need to do 2.
Yes, you can do 2.
I don't follow the rules very well. So the first one is, listen, the first year is hell. The first year is simply hell. And if you make the mistake of going into it thinking, well, wait, no, it'll be okay and I can find a way to... No. Go into it and say, the first year is going to be hell. I have to get through it.
You just get through it.
Just get through it. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, there are so many different things that we get as advice about how to raise our children, and I'm sure that a lot of it is really valid, but just express love for your kids. Just love your kids, and for God's sake, so much of the rest of it is going to work out okay. But don't make the mistake of thinking you have to check all the boxes, because it's 80% bullshit.
All right. Good enough to know.
Agreed.
We've got Jan and Alex, the hosts of Daddy Squared, a very popular podcast. We're going to listen to a couple of songs and come back with more. KGAY 106.5, the Pride of the Valley.
KGAY 106.5.
KGAY 106.5, the Pride of the Valley, Thursday morning with Ben Patrick Johnson. And as I said when we started the previous segment, it's a full house. We've got Jan and Alex the hosts of Daddy Squared. They are a married couple, and they've got their 2 sons here. We've got Ben and we've got Adam. Ben has a tummy ache today.
Yes.
But, these things happen. They happen. Poop happens.
It's all genetic too. I threw up in cars all through my childhood and well into my adulthood. So why shouldn't he?
Absolutely. Provocation's different at different times. But, we work with what we work with. You've touched a lot of lives with your podcast. It's funny, it's smart, it's great life advice, both for parents as well as non-parents. I've garnered a great deal listening to it in just the short time that I've been familiar with it. What's the most moving or touching piece of feedback that you've gotten from someone listening to the podcast?
Well, we get feedbacks from all over the world, but what really moves me is feedbacks from countries like Russia, who, people are not really fully allowed to be gay there. And when we get messages like, we're listening to your podcast and it feels like we have friends and stuff like that, it really uplifts me. I mean, these people are, all of these countries that are, not allowed to be, for people not allowed to be who they are, it's really tough.
How about for you, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, those are by far the best. I will say that the other thing that I have found great is we have listeners who are straight moms. And I love when I speak to straight moms and they say, God, I wish I was allowed to be that way about my kids. And I ask them, what do you mean? And they say, well, just so open about how hard it is and how infuriating. And I'm expected to be happy all the time as a mother. And I'm like, well, don't do that. Why would you do that? So there's something actually really nice about the idea that while this is a gay dads podcast, it just goes to show how much it's a parenting. It's the experience of being parenting. It turns
As you
out
can hear in the background.
Yes.
Experience.
We hear the audience.
Soundproof studio. Not with my children around. But no, anyway, so there's something beautiful about that, the kind of flattening out of all of this.
Okay. Now, is there anything that you've covered, that you said in the podcast, that in hindsight, 2 weeks later or a year later, you thought, oh, maybe we wouldn't have covered that?
I actually have one.
Good.
Okay.
I think the entertainment for kids. I think that we had an episode about entertainment.
Yeah.
I think it was the first season.
Yeah.
Alex, that I don't know. I think it was too presumptuous of us to cover this topic.
Well, look,
because I think that every parents have have their own idea of what to play to their kids. The fact that our kids are listening only to Kylie Minogue and Madonna doesn't mean
they're
that all of the
KGAY
other
fans.
Okay, let me just make it clear that when he's not at home,
Yes.
I'm not saying Madonna.
I try to deprogram them from that crap. I mean, Madonna is not crap, but
You're
Early
talking about
Madonna.
our key playlist here.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. Hey, listen, I love Madonna. Okay,
All right, okay.
It's just that it's important
up to
to have
Ray
a
of
little
Light,
bit
I
of breath.
think.
Okay,
We
never
play.
mind. This is not
You
important
see?
now.
Okay.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Entertainment. Kids.
Kids, entertainment.
I think one of the things that we have tried really hard to keep in mind as we did this podcast is this is not intended to be a we help you parent, we know the answers. We bring on experts who we think can help, but even in their cases, we try to couch everything in much more of a conversation because we don't know.
Yeah,
we're in our 5th year. We're entering the 5th year of our kids' lives. We didn't know. We didn't get a degree in frickin' psychology when
No.
we did
Yeah,
this thing.
But who does? Parents don't.
Well, that's right. And so, even though we've brought on experts, even with the experts, we've tried to talk about this like, look, here are a bunch of thoughts. Here are a bunch of movies we loved. Here's a bunch of music we love. Does that mean you should love it? No. So, whenever I listen back on our podcasts and we sound preachy, we've screwed up.
Yes.
But if
I think so too.
it's more of a conversation and opening ourselves up in terms of what our experiences are, then I think it's cool.
Yeah, I guess that from second season on, it became much more easier because the audience actually gives us the topics. So by the time when we start a season, most of the season is already laid out because we already got requests for people who want to know about stuff or specific issues or stuff like that.
So what do we have to look forward to in season 4 then?
Well, we are doing. Actually, we're going around the world next season. Yeah, we're going to visit gay dads in many countries in the world. We're currently working on it right now.
Could you please
What?
burst?
Well, not physically. Basically.
Right, burst the bubble.
I'm sorry, we're doing it
virtually.
via Zoom. Yeah.
That's fine.
I just want everyone to be clear that the Gay Dad podcast, Daddy Squared, does not have a private jet.
Is it not $1 million budget for you guys?
No, it is not, and we don't have that kind of money. But we are going to visit them around the world digitally, which is the way things are done these days anyway.
Sure is.
Yeah. And we're going to try to figure out what life is like for gay dads in various countries.
Now, where do people listen to the podcast? How can they find it?
Wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Okay.
I mean Apple and Google Play and Spotify.
Just Google Daddy Squared. I think it goes.
Sure.
But, Daddy. We have a website, daddysqr.com.
daddysqr.com, and they can find out where to listen. I highly recommend this webcast.
You can order. You can order babies through the site too. we have swag, and then we decided why not just see if
Human
we can
life,
round it up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking time to be with us today.
Thanks, Ben.
It's Jan and Alex from Daddy Squared,
Yes.
the podcast, and we wish you all success and have a great fourth season, and we'll be listening.
Thank you so much.
KGAY 106.5, the Pride of the Valley.
KGAY 106.5.